Hey, hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tobias, and I'm a bit on the edge here of the camera today because I want to give focus to this lovely bunch of records behind me. Yeah, so this is just a catch-up, really. It's been a super busy week for me this week, and next week it's just going to be pretty manic as well. But I managed to cram in a review, an Halloween episode even, that's going to be released next week. So I'm doing the editing for those ones right now. But I thought I was just going to do a really quick one here, just to catch up, because not only it's been busy for me work-wise and all of that, but it's been a busy music week. All of these records arrived in my mailbox, or I went to the record store to pick them up. So I thought, why not talk a bit about these ones? And let's start out with Kylie's new album, Tension 2, the follow-up to the absolutely banger of an album that was released last year, Tension, of course. And I only had one listen to this one, but I'm blown away once again. But hey, I'm biased. It's Kylie. So yeah, I'm going to go a bit more in depth on that one, do a review of that one. It really deserves it, I think. And another one that dropped in my mailbox this week was this one, Betty Boo's new album, Rip Up the Rulebook. It's been out for a while, digitally at least, but they announced for everyone who pre-ordered it through her web store that it was going to be a bit of a delay because they had some problems with the pressing plant. It could be that they were waiting in queue. We have another record store day coming up, so I believe that could be one of the reasons. So I actually had a chance to listen to this one before I got my vinyl copy here. And it's an absolute stunner of an album. I thought Boomerang, her previous album, was great. This one is even better. The production, Betty Boo, and all of it is so good. So you will get a review of that one very soon, I promise you. Another one that dropped in my mailbox was this one. I have this one on pre-order. This Black Beauty back here with that mysterious artifact there in the middle. That's Propaganda. Yeah, you remember that group from the 80s that released Secret Wish, that beautiful album from 1985. Yeah, so this is my Mikael Mertens, Ralf Dorper, from Propaganda. We also had Susanne Freitag and Claudia Brücken in that group originally, but Susanne and Claudia a couple of years ago formed something called Ex-Propaganda, where they released absolutely stunner of an album produced by Steve Lipson, and it harkens back to that 80s sound, that old Propaganda sound, and we were all delighted. All Propaganda fans all around the world were delighted. This one, however, is like if Propaganda was still releasing records after, what was it, 1992 or something, when the last one unfortunately came out. But in a world where Propaganda had been releasing albums constantly throughout the 90s to the 2000s and so forth and so on, I believe this is what they would have evolved to. Because I've heard a lot of criticisms around this one. Oh, it really doesn't sound like Propaganda and all of that. And no, of course not. Because they, over the years, even if they haven't been an active group, the members, Mikael and Ralf in this case, they have been getting a lot of other influences. They've been inspired by so much music that's come out over the years. Things change over time, right? So I think this one is a brilliant album, and I have done a review of this one, so it's coming up very soon. It is, from the get-go, from the first listen I had on this one, I was so delighted. I'm over the moon for this one. So don't listen to all the critics, and don't expect to hear Propaganda a la 1980s here, because they have evolved. They are leaving that behind, and that's what any good artist have to do, in my opinion, because I remember back in the 80s, there were some Depeche Mode fans, for example, said, "Oh, I wish they were still sounding like they did on Speak and Spell or A Broken Frame," when they released especially music for the masses. I remember there was an outrage. They used guitars on that album and all that. It's just ridiculous, really, in my opinion. And you're entitled to have yours, of course, but I think it's ridiculous. Every good band should evolve over time. The sound should be different from, over time as well and all that. So, but I'm not going to continue that rant. But believe me, it is a really, really good listen. The album is called Propaganda. The group is Propaganda. Yeah. So now let's go to something else. Charlie XCX, Brat, is one of my absolute favorite albums this year, and I know I'm not alone in thinking that. And I said this before on my channel. I didn't listen a lot to Charlie XCX before. I didn't really pay much attention, but when I listened to a couple of tracks from her new album Brat, I was blown away. I went out, bought the album, and I never regretted it. I never looked back. And now she released sort of a remix album. I would say it's a reworked Brat album, really. It's called Brat, and it's completely different, but it's also still Brat, of course. It is. And it does include a lot of different collaborations here. Among so many, one of my favorites from Sweden, of course, Robin. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet. I bought it just yesterday, and so I will sit down today, Sunday, and listen to this one. And a perfect opportunity as well for me to have a listen to this one going to and from work this coming week, because there's going to be a lot of traveling for me. So yeah, this one. I've really been looking forward to this one. She also released another one, which I believe it has a white cover, which is the original Brat album, but it also includes 3 new tracks. But I opted in for this one instead because I'm really curious about what other artists could do together with Charlie XCX on the original tracks. So yeah, that's one I picked up yesterday. And also yesterday it was... it dropped. Also yesterday, it was National Album Day here in the UK. And it's been going on for a couple of years. I think it's the 7th year they're going now. So they have a theme for each year. I think it's every October, if I'm not misremembering things. So this year's theme for National Album Day was Great British Groups, and there was a couple of things that stood out to me on their list. And I'm not going to go into the details on National Album Day, but basically it's a smaller variant of Record Store Day. You can actually read this list in less than a minute, the releases they are doing for each National Album Day. So it's not like the Record Store Days where you have this long list from page after page after page. No, this is a smaller format exclusively for the UK. And a lot of people have been talking about this year's exclusive Beatles release, the Hard Day's Night on white vinyl. And I do understand all the Beatles fans out there, because they have this record already, but this is an exclusive one on white vinyl. I get it if you're a completist and all of that, but I didn't went for the Beatles one. What really caught my eye was this one over here, if I'm pointing in the right direction. Sugar Babes, their second album from 2002, Angels with Dirty Faces. This was nothing that I really picked up in 2002, but that was around that time when I left the techno and house scene, really, when I was fatigued with that and I started listening more to contemporary pop. And I talked about this one before, like I said. And Sugar Babes was one of those groups that I really appreciated the singles that I was listening to back then. I think I picked up a couple of CD singles, but they're long gone now. But anyhow, yeah, I really like those. Earlier this year, I picked up the reissue of their first album on vinyl. And I was so pleased with that one. Really loved that one. So when I saw this one, I was like, yeah, I'm going to pick that one up as well. It's got a lot of those singles that I remember from back in the day, but I never really listened to the whole album. So this is a bit of a shot in the dark, so to speak. But yeah, at least I get the singles. Even if the other ones are not really appealing to me, I get to listen to these great singles from 2002. Yeah, so really, really good. And also, I picked up this one. This is, of course, Prefab Sprout, Jordan the Comeback. And a lot of Prefab Sprout fans say this is their great, great 90s album. And I do agree, it is a great album. But for me, Prefab Sprout from the 90s, Andromeda Heights is the big one for me. But I really love this one. Only had it on CD so far, and I was really pleased with that one. But when I read the reviews of a 2019 reissue of this one, and everyone was saying it's such a good remaster and actually a remix of the album as well. I was a bit curious, but I never picked it up in 2019. But now on National Album Day, they did this one as well. The only difference is it's on colored vinyl this time around, and but it's still the 2019 reissue. So really looking forward to listen to that one. Picked up yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to listen to any of these yet. Yeah, but I will do today. Today is my music listening day. Yeah, so I think that's it. But that's quite a lot of things that have been happening in my life this week when it comes to new music and even old music that's been re-released. So yeah, just a goodie bag of music. And that's basically what I want to catch up on. Please comment down below if you attended National Album Day, and if so, what were your nuggets from that list? Or perhaps you just skipped it altogether because you're not living in the UK. And before I leave you, a big thank you to all the kind comments I got from my last couple of videos, especially from the Kim Wilde one. There will be more Kim Wilde coming up on this channel, by the way, because we have a lot to talk about when it comes to Kim Wilde in 1984. And as if you're a frequent viewer, listener to this channel, you know that I am focusing on 1984 on this channel this year, because it's been 40 years since that wonderful music year, 1984. So a lot more coming from that one in the last couple of months of this year. Yeah, that's it. A big thank you for watching yet another video here with me. I will be back next week with, among other things, a Halloween special. So until then, you all take care of yourself, and as usual, adieu.